Yo, what's up everybody? It's RJ with Slow Movement. So today we're out here, we're checking out my buddy Michael's 1991 Jeep Cherokee, which pretty much isn't a Jeep Cherokee anymore except the body. He has it with 1-ton axles on it. It's on 40s. It's lifted massively. He's got an LS swap in it. So we're gonna check it out. He's gonna fire it up for us. Talk to him a little bit about it, and hope you guys enjoy. If you do, like and subscribe, drop a comment below. We're definitely gonna be featuring this thing a lot more later on as he gets it up and moving and taking it out to the trails and things like that. So enjoy. So what did you build it for? Like, what was?
So originally, like, I got this off my dad a long time ago back in high school, and it was always set up for going off-roading and playing around, and ultimately deep water crossings. I had a couple snorkels on it over the years. I played around with a couple different setups with it, and I wound up, to say the least, being a little scared of the deep water, because my dad, when he owned this with the original inline six, he hydrolocked the motor twice before I ever took possession of it.
Solid.
So from there, I just kept going higher and higher with it, and it's like, I'm never gonna let that happen. Not happening ever again, you know.
So you just built it to keep it out of the water, keep it high.
Almost to float it. And actually, when I had the bigger tires on it, this is dropping it down. When I had the 44s on it, it would float for a brief moment, and you'd find the bottom and pull back through again. But yeah, it's just an all-around just a vehicle just to beat the living crap out of and have fun.
Okay, cool, cool. So you said you had 44s on it. What size tires are on it now?
These are currently 40s. They're a lot skinnier than what I had. These are 40 by 13.5 wide, so 13.5 inches wide. I had 44 by 18.5, so they were literally like giant balloons, and I can show you some pictures of it later. Okay. There's actually a picture of it floating in the lake. You know, it was actually on the ground, but when I initially parked it there, it kind of had to settle for a minute. Yeah, so. These 40s I picked up, they're a little bit more for crawling and not so much to deep.
More like trail type stuff. And
yeah, I'm trying to tame it down a little bit now and be able to drive it on the road a little bit. So
that makes sense. Makes sense. Make it a little more street legal.
Yeah, it's like right there on the border.
I got you. Yeah. I guess everybody kind of runs Danas and stuff like that on their lifted Jeep trucks, things like that. So tell us about like what you've done with the drivetrain and the axles and everything for this thing.
So it's a 2001 Silverado engine, 5.3. Bone stock 5.3 when it started out, and it still kind of is. I've got LS1 Corvette heads on it, which actually dropped the compression down, so I'm probably going to take those back off and run some newer model 5.3 heads and a cam and some other things in the future. Currently still stock 5.3, just headers and some bolt-ons. I ran a built 700 automatic behind that, and a 241 transfer case out of the Silverado 1500. I destroyed both of those multiple times. They don't like going underwater. Hydraulic driven transmissions, that they're good, and automatics are good for what they do. Kind of as we said before with the whole deep water stuff. And
you were afraid of hydrolocking anything.
Yeah, and after putting on, I dumped a stupid amount of money into building an automatic, and it did great. Until you got wet and put it underwater, and they don't last. So what's in it now is a NV4500. It's a 5-speed manual with a granny low, and the 5th gear is like an overdrive, so I can actually take it somewhere and drive it down the road. I've had, with the bigger tires on, I've had it up about 85, 86 miles an hour, and it's a little sketchy, but
a little bit of death bobble.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I never had the death bobble out of it. Surprisingly, everybody complains about that in the Jeeps, but I guess I did something right for for everything being out of the junkyard. Like it's got shakes and wobbles all over the used to with the big monster tires on it. But with these, it should do a lot better. The tires I had were kind of shaking it apart, so that's kind of what prompted me to step it down a little bit. The front axle's from a 94 F350 with some parts off of a newer model F350. So it's a Dana 60 in the front. I got a truss from one side to the other just to, not for the added strength. It's not like I really needed it, but I needed something to build off of and something to measure equal distances off that to make the control arm mounts. So I kind of got the best of both worlds, the strength out of it. It's a truss Dana 60 up front and a 14-bolt Chevy rear end. So Ford axle in the front, Chevy in the rear, and Chevy drivetrain under the hood. Aside from that, I'm running a 538 gear ratio to turn the big tires.
So, without having super struggles.
No, yeah, I'll put it in low gear, and then 4 low on top of that, and just let out the clutch, and it'll climb just about anything I want. I haven't had a single problem with it not being able to pull somebody out, aside from it only weighs a little bit, you know. So, yeah. But it'll climb just about anything I put it up against.
Okay. So you said, you know, things you wanted to measure off of and stuff like that. So pretty much most of this Jeep, like, you know, you said your dad owned it before you. You've built it like all yourself then. Oh, yeah. For the most part. Yeah.
So it's kind of started as like a 3.5 inch to a 5 inch lift kit, you know, with some budget boost parts when my dad owned it, and it was a daily driver. I had it as a daily driver for many years through high school, all the way through, you know, after a couple of years being in the Army, and this was my vehicle, the only thing I had. So I tried to keep it all somewhat tame. When I started getting into the junkyard parts and the bigger stuff that didn't belong in it was when I started realizing, okay, I need to take it off the road if I'm going to do this. So I had to start building things just from scratch. There's a lot of parts out there on the market now to be able to throw these axles in and everything bolt right up. When I did this, they didn't have that, so I had to measure everything by hand. You know, a lot of things were done, you know, kind of with scrap metal, you know, and scrap parts from the junkyards. Whatever I could find that would make it work, and that's exactly what it is. And it performs well. Of course, you know, there's always room for improvement on any build.
Yeah, so. Of course. Well, I kind of got a few shots of your interior and stuff like that. Obviously, it's pretty stripped right now because you're you know, downsizing it, redoing everything. But what's like your goals for that interior? Are you trying to just keep it super minimalistic, or are you kind of trying to make it kind of nice, kind of still off-roady?
When I first did the whole 1-ton, the V8 swap, you know, it's a Laredo package, and to people who don't know, it was a fully loaded version of the Cherokee, and it had power windows, power locks, you know, the vent windows on the side for like they call them the selling point windows. Just a little bit of extra ventilation. Had all the nice overhead display and the overhead console, everything. I tried to maintain all that, and as time went on, the electric window motors they kind of die. You know, the power locks they start like having issues, and so that's where it is now. And honestly, the Chrysler wiring in there it's a show. I don't even want it anymore. So I'm ripping everything of it out. The whole dash is coming out. I'm probably going to do a basic sheet metal dash with a digital gauge cluster. You know, just one gauge cluster that has the essentials on it, and a couple vents for some airflow, you know, in the dash, and that's it. Because I gotta have room for the roll cage, which is also coming soon. The center console got ripped out, and that's actually an ammo can that I cut the bottom out of and made to fit the contour of the transmission hump. And I just kind of bolted that down to the floor and welded one end of the can so it pivots like a hinge. So it's a sealed dry box too. So when I'm out in the woods, you know, I got something secure to lock things into. But as far as that, I mean, waterproof seats really, I don't want an interior to be messed up. So yeah, but the only way to do
minimalistic.
The only way to do
metal and waterproof stuff.
Yeah, rip out everything it doesn't need, and you know, hand crank windows, and that's it. So.
Okay. Overall, you know, so we heard what you're gonna do to the interior. We've kind of done we've talked about all the little components: tires, wheels, exterior, motor, all that stuff, axles. What's like your end goal right now for it? Obviously, you're kind of downsizing it. You want to make it more like trail-like. What's like the complete end goal? If you had one right now, obviously everybody's changes all the time, but like, if you were like, this is my end goal right now, what would it be?
Well, so you know, with the Jeep, with a lot of projects, they're never done.
Yeah,
like the end goal for this chapter of the build, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
It's today's idea.
Yeah, in the near few weeks, months, whatever it takes. I'm trying to not spend so much right now. I'd like it to be a little bit, probably 2-3 inches lower than it sits right now. It's still a little bit too tall, I think, but what I've got, I know is going to work because I've driven it at this height once already. I think I want a little bit lower, maybe stretch it forward at the front axle forward another 5-6 inches, push the rear axle back a little bit more, do a little bit more cutting on the body, get the roll cage in, and then strip out all the wires I don't need inside, and kind of call it a day at that, and then just run it, play with it some, and we'll see what the future holds.
Till that new idea hits, huh?
Yeah, until that supercharger and the cam and all. When that pocket of money hits the bank, the motor's getting some work. But right now, if I start building the motor up, there's a lot of things I don't know that'll hold up. So
That's fair. That's fair. You want to have fun with it now while you can.
Yeah.
All right. Alright guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed. We definitely enjoyed talking with Mike. Thanks for letting us check out your Jeep and whatnot. I definitely can't wait to see this thing on the road, and even better yet, off-road. So stay tuned. We're going to be, like I said, trail riding it and all this other stuff once it is up to its full potential. But until then, you guys just hang out, but you will be seeing this more on the channel. Take care.